the Negro Justice League.
Hi, welcome to the Negro Justice League, a Black Nerd podcast, episode 94. I'm your host, Cherry.
It's your boy, Jay.
And today we have a special guest, MP3 Nut, aka Peanut. Thank you for joining us today. Say what's up.
Hey, y'all.
All right. So today, we are going to do the news. No, let's do the news first. Jay, go ahead and get the news started.
Well, first thing, let's give some shout out and props to Abbott Elementary. They've set records for ABC comedy premiere, specifically in the viewerships of 18 to 49. Their rating went up by 300% in just 35 days. Some of the biggest numbers ever. So Abbott Elementary, really shout out to Quinta Brunson, who is the creator and one of the main actors on the show as well.
Yeah.
Philly stand up.
I've been watching it, but it's not a bad show. It's just I struggle with the comedy aspect because it's a depressing show. Like I see it and I get sad. Like they're really Black kids in these underserved communities that are getting a terrible education because the system has totally abandoned them. And it's hard for me to find comedy in it. So like I'm watching it and I don't dislike it, but it's a struggle for me sometimes.
That is the same. That is one of the things I have, maybe not as to such a degree, but it is something like I like it because I've been in those teaching situations and in those conversations. But then it's like, this is kind of depressing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I did life in the Philadelphia public school system, so I can map teachers to people that are in this show specifically. It is very.
He served time in the school system.
Accurate, yeah.
All right. It's my turn. We've been talking about this, I feel like, for multiple years. So the fact that it's in the news again is I guess it's actually happening now. But
we're keeping it alive.
Right. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, only because we decided to start re-recording episodes, they have decided to take their talents over to Disney Plus and do a series. Like I said, we've been talking about this for several years. I think it is an appropriate move. That movie butchered the books. The first one a little bit. The second one was like, did y'all even know there was a book before y'all made this movie? And so Rick Riordan is on board. He seems really excited and happy about it. I'm excited to see it, especially because it's a series. These books turn to movies like Harry Potter, like Hunger Games, like Twilight. A lot gets lost in translation because you're trying to pack a real thick book into 2 hours. So deciding to make this a series, I think is a good idea, especially because it's really, each book is an epic adventure and a whole lot of stuff happens. So I think this is a good idea. So hopefully it pans out pretty good.
I'm excited. The Batman has released their official runtime for the newest Matt Reeves movie starring Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne himself. And the runtime is the longest at nearly 3 hours. 200 and how many minutes? 250-minute runtime. I can't wait, Jerry, for this review.
I'm not watching that. Like y'all tried it. I'm not doing it. Especially if imagine go to the movie theaters, you got to sit through 30 minutes of previews. Then you got 2 hours and 47 minutes of freaking Batman. And then like they're trying to copy Marvel, so you got to sit through the end credits. It's gonna be another 10 minutes of credits at the end. You got to sit. Hell no.
They said if you actually stay to the end credits and watch everything like people do nowadays, it's actually 2 hours and 55 minutes.
I heard it was 2 hours and 47 minutes of actual film. And so the pre-credits and the end.
Of credits.
Huh?
8 minutes of credits alone.
That's expected.
8 minutes.
That's normal. It's just the 30 minutes before the movie starts. You forgot about that part too. So we're gonna be at the theater for like 3.5 hours. No.
Here's my thing. If movie theaters really want people to come back to us and movies are just long now, you need to bring back intermissions. You got to let me be able to stretch my legs and go to the bathroom.
I can go to the bathroom. I can eat. And it's good for their sales, right? Because I'm out there buying hot dogs and stuff.
Yeah, intermission, 15, 20 minutes. Go to the bathroom, get something to eat,
and then they just
up.
jump. They can, up the prices because this is the special show with the intermission. They'll do. You know what they'll do. It works for them.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. You can have a waitress come by, give me some drinks. You could do some things.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It works.
My turn. Disney's remaking Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They're doing all their classics over. They've done Aladdin, they've done Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast. I'm missing stuff, sure, whatever. But they're doing Snow White for whatever reason. And so because there's controversy with Snow White being literally Snow White, like it's a thing. They decided to hire a Hispanic actress to play Snow White to kind of like off-play some of that controversy. But they still have 7 literal dwarves in the movie. Like, it was their plan to hire 7 people, smaller people, to be in the film. And Peter Dinklage, basically Tyrion from Game of Thrones and like the guy from a lot of other movies. He spoke out and was like, this is bull. Like, you've acknowledged that Snow White is racist, and so you recast that, but you still got 7 little people that you want to be dwarves. So they came back and said,
in a cave.
Yes. And so they reached out to the dwarf community and got some guidance on that and decided that that's not what they're going to do. And so they're recasting or redo. I don't know. They're getting rid of that part because it's racist. I think they should just left this one where it was at. I don't think you should have remade this one. I think they should just took an L on Snow White and Seven Dwarfs.
To say not make one of the most classics when they've been remaking all of them, Disney would never do it. This is one of the few movies they could actually do a live remake because Snow White is such a long classic. They never did a modern update of it.
But
really,
you can't do it and not be racist.
I think that is the question of the story itself. Like, how do
but then it's not Snow White no more. Like, if it's just some chick and she's living in an apartment and she got 7 homeboys, then we're not talking about a remake. That's a spinoff.
Do they have to be dwarves though?
If they're not, it's not Snow White. If she ain't white and they ain't dwarves, it's a different movie.
It could be Snow White and the 7 homies. Them being dwarves,
that's a straight to DVD film that you can get in the $5 bin in the backpack behind the black curtain.
If them being dwarves have no merit to the movie or the story, like, give them the same names. You could be Sleepy and still be 5'6". Like, what did being a dwarf do other than it just being the fact that dwarves are small and they live in it was all.
I'm just saying it shouldn't be done. I'm not saying they have to be dwarves. I'm saying don't do it. I'm saying leave it alone. Just leave it where it's at.
If you got to go through that many hoops to change it, eventually you'll change it to where it's not Snow White.
It's not going to be good. And if you change it that much, then it's not a remake no more. It's just a spinoff thing, and that's a different category of film.
I will give Disney the benefit of the doubt that if they do change it, they can do it at least well because they handled the Aladdin and Robin Williams and Genie thing with Will pretty well, I think.
But that wasn't inherently racist and ableist. There was some racism in it. When you watch Aladdin, there's some jokes, and you tweak a couple jokes, make them a little less racist. You can do that. That's not the same as changing the main characters because you wrote them in a way that was offensive.
I'm talking more to the ability of working around a sensitive situation that most people are like, I don't know how you're going to be able to do this and make people like actually appreciate it. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't think it's the same thing.
Okay, let's
I
move
think
on.
Aladdin just needed a couple tweaks. This needs an overhaul. Is what I'm saying.
The overhaul is just don't make them 7 dwarves, man. Just that won't be equal.
She ain't
sizes.
white. They ain't dwarves. It ain't Snow White. The 7 dwarves no more.
Okay, Snow White. Just call it Snow White.
Why are you pressing for this? I think you argue with me just because that's what you do.
Cameo. That's what I think.
He's arguing with me just because that's what he does. Because I'm listening. I'm like, are you listening to you? I want you to go back when I air this episode, and I want you to sit there and go, what the hell was I talking about? And let me know that you still have the same. I'm over here clapping. Let me know you still have the same opinion. Because I'm like, what are you even talking about, bro?
Here's the thing. Now that you make me realize how hard I was caping for this, honestly, this wasn't even a movie I liked. So really,
I'm like, what did you become a Snow White fan? Why do you care?
Never. I said, wow, you learn something new every day.
No, they don't have to have the dwarves. They can just be homies. Like, are you for real?
I think
it has to happen.
I think my social justice warrior came out, and I was just capping for like
for the cause.
For the cause.
I want you to rethink that whole stance. Let me know. Come back to it in 2 weeks when it's airs.
I stand by my statements, but I actually do not care enough to continue.
I agree with you that the story can still be told. There's a story in there that can be told. I just disagree that this fits with the things that we can actually do a remake that's close to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I get it.
All right,
I'm done. I'm done.
You just had to take a step back. That's all it was.
I was a little bit too close to the mirror. I jumped back. I said, "Hey, baby."
It ain't that deep, bro. You had to do it. All right. Somebody appreciates you there. So. All right. So we're talking about all Harry Potter stuff today. Hogwarts Legacy, we're about to talk about now. That's the game. There's no spoilers there because you'll find out in a second. Then we're going to talk about Hogwarts Tournament of Houses. I have that at the 25. I'm almost positive we're going to start earlier than that. There is a major spoiler because it's a tournament, and so we know who won, and we're going to talk about who won because I want to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the Harry Potter 20th anniversary return to Hogwarts. We're going to talk about everything, but I don't think there's anything major that happens in that that's like spoiler warning worthy. Like I don't remember any major bombshells or anything that's like you can't listen to that. So hopefully getting to that around the 40. All right. Hogwarts A Legacy is a video game that when did we hear about this video game? What year was it? 2020?
I want to say
2019.
It might be 2019. It was pre-pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah. We were excited.
So they started talking about Hogwarts. Like, who's making this? I forgot who's even making it. It's been years. This is supposed to be like a open world ish Harry Potter game. Well, okay. Let me run it back. They took the Harry Potter part out. So it's basically you're in Hogwarts several decades or even a century or two before Harry Potter and them, and you're your own character, and you're supposed to run around the castle and do Hogwarts stuff independent of the Harry Potter story that we know. And it's supposed to have an open world aspect. And there's supposed to be like a social aspect. The graphics look amazing. We've seen like 2 pictures. And like we said, they announced this in 2019. It was supposed to come out maybe in 2020. And then I know they major thing. Yeah, I think they said 2020 first. Then I know it was supposed to come out in 2021. Then JK started her stuff and COVID started their stuff, and it didn't come out in 2021. So it's supposed to come out this year, but we don't have a release date. They doubled down recently and said that it is coming out this year. They haven't pushed it back, but there's been a lot of major announcements from Sony, and none of those announcements included this game. So there's a lot of skepticism on whether or not we haven't seen a trailer. Like we've seen a little bit of we've seen a commercial. We've seen a commercial
footage.
Yeah, we haven't seen actual like gameplay. Like there's no concrete evidence that we will ever see this game, is what I'm trying to say.
I think it's not that bad, but
I mean it'll come out, but I feel like we're already in the zone where this is going to be another cyberpunk.
You know this? I was just about to say this feels very cyberpunk-ish. I mean,
remember Anthem was like this.
Yeah. The only problem is it's. I think the issue comes not from the game itself, but I really think it's because of JK. I think that's where some of this kind of delaying is going from, because they keep on trying to wait for the winds to die down. And then she said, "Well, let me tell you what else I feel like."
She has said a lot of anti-trans stuff, but like most people will say,
like it's not even.
It's bad. Most people will say what they say and then realize, oh, I got backlash messing with my money. Let me shut up and just fall back. She doubles down constantly. Like she really, in her mind, thinks she's right and won't shut up about it. Regardless, like, of whether or not you agree with her. This is messing with your bag. Shut up. And she won't. And her opinions, and let's be clear, like, her opinions, I read the piece that she wrote about trans women. And at the beginning, I was like, okay, these opinions are controversial, but I can see where they're coming from. Then I kept reading, and it just became disgusting and offensive. And it was like, do you even... Like, where did you get this from? She, in her mind, sees trans women like as a threat. The threats that she perceives from trans women are really threats that I've experienced from cisgendered men. And it's like, I think you got some communities mixed up or something. I don't know what the issue is.
For me, the easiest way to say it is she does see transgender women, especially as cisgendered men, just trying to get into women's spaces covertly. Like, she really views it as, I could still be assaulted or something like that, as it's still a man. That's her whole basis, as well as the fact of saying, oh, transgender women take away from what it means to be a woman now, which is also nonsense.
It's difficult to tease out. It's difficult to educate her or even to deal with, because it's like, I hear what she's saying. And I don't disagree. I think a man putting on a dress and coming into the women's restroom is a threat to women's safety. But I also think that doesn't have anything to do with trans people, because that's not what trans is. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking if you boil it down, her problem is still cisgendered men and the crap that they do. And so she's directing her issues at the wrong community, to me.
Yeah. Because she says, what would stop a man from putting on a dress and saying that he's trans? A transgender
Nothing.
Woman isn't going to do that. Like, that's not...
Like, whether or not transgendered people... If they don't have anything to do with it. A man dressing up as a woman and going into the women's restroom has nothing to do with trans people.
Right, because they're not trans.
Yeah, they're not... Hello?
Yeah. It's hard. And like you said, not only does she double down on it, is she uses that as a torch. And she'll reply, and she'll get other people agreeing. And so she gets herself a nice little vacuum where it's like she's in her own little magical world, and she thinks she's leading a charge.
And this has nothing to do with Harry Potter, so shut up. Like, if you're not talking about Hogwarts, baby, hush. Or have that conversation between you and your girls. Don't have that conversation on Twitter when you messing up my fandom. Because now I can't enjoy the things I want to enjoy because you want to run your mouth to be a dumbass. Like, I really... She's working my nerves.
It even came up in a way in her last Robert Galbraith book also.
I feel like it came up before the last. Yeah. Okay. You want to elaborate on that, Jay? Peanut.
In terms of the book, it came to find out that one of the books that she had been writing under a pen name of Robert, I always forget the last, Galbraith, has scenes where it is a person being sexually assaulted, attacked by a man dressing as a woman. And when it came to find out that, oh, surprise, surprise, Robert Galbraith is actually J.K. Rowling, who talks about these almost exact same scenarios as if they're real life scenarios. And people now, she had a new book come out. I think it's part of the Cormoran Strike series. And yeah. So
I forgot that happened just because I don't like those books.
Fair.
I love them. Unfortunately, the new one just got announced. I'm excited.
I think it's really interesting. How do you deal with that? Like, for Hogwarts Legacy, what could Warner Media, the company that's trying to make these games clearly for the fans, because it's everything we said we've always wanted in a Hogwarts game, how do you solve this? Other than being like, hey, y'all, we think she crazy and anti-trans too. We're donating $2 million.
Yes, that's all you gotta do.
But my issue is, and this is where, I disagree with popular opinion, and y'all can be mad at me if you want to. I don't care. I don't have a problem separating the creator from the content. Like, if you think about so much stuff that we love comes from racist white folks, and we don't stop loving it just because the white folks that made it are racist for the most part. I look at it the same way. Like, if you look at Lovecraft Country, that's the whole premise of that is that the author is racist. But that doesn't mean those stories like Cthulhu and that stuff's still good stuff. I say that to say, I grew up on Harry Potter. She's not taking it back. She got, she gave it to me. She gave it to the world. She don't get it back. It's out there. It's ours now. She can do whatever she wants. And I still love Harry Potter. If Harry Potter came out and said something, I'm talking about Daniel Radcliffe. I'm talking about the actual character was written in there that he was like, hate a racist or something, or hated trans people or whatever. Then that's a different story. But to me, Hogwarts, Harry Potter, everything is just so big and self-contained. She can do whatever she wants. It's mine now. So, I mean, I
think I take those kind of things on a case-by-case basis.
Of course. And
it's like how much of the artist's gross views actually play into the art.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, well, Harry Potter, I don't, and maybe there is some, but I can't really match her anti-trans and all that kind of stuff to like active themes in Harry Potter.
But
I'm sure somebody can.
I mean, as far as trans stuff, I don't think so. But we want to talk about race. It's in there. Dobby is one boss from being a house slave. And so that's an issue. Like, as a kid, I didn't see it. As an adult, it's working my nerves. And then, like, somebody, Jewish, I don't remember who it was, just came out
Banks.
and...
Huh? We said,
John Stewart. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to say that and be wrong. John Stewart basically said the goblins...
But that would have been racist?
Huh? Yeah, it would have been racist. If I said somebody Jewish, yeah, John Stewart. No, I wasn't sure. He basically said the goblins in Gringotts are, caricatures of Jews. And that's offensive. And now that I rewatched the movie last week, and I'm like, that's absolutely really offensive. And so, like, what?
Every single, even the Asian characters have offensive. Every single character that has any type of diversity or ethnicity or anything, racist undertones. Actually, the giant woman from the Harry Potter books, people say is actually
Madame Maxine.
Is what she alludes to as like transgender women.
So, I mean, knowing that, do you consider that to be just part of growing up and being an adult and realizing your heroes suck? Or is it a deal breaker?
For me, it's kind of a little bit of mix of what Peanut said, but also like I can't enjoy certain things after a point. Like, I can't do R. Kelly anymore at this point. Like, I really cannot listen to his music that I used to love and not realize, oh, he was a creep this entire time, for real. Like, I can't. I haven't listened to anything since, really. This is kind of the same thing for JK, because, like, now knowing how hard she goes to be wrong in her hate, I see it. And it's hard, and I love Harry Potter, and I don't know if I could do the books again or see the movies again. I am interested in the game, but it is tarnished for me.
I'm afraid, like we said in the beginning, that the game is going to do a cyberpunk anthem, basically be too big for its britches and just kind of bomb.
I'm almost positive they will
timing.
Yeah. I think Warner Media is making them have to make sure it drops. I think the game developers would prefer to like let it die down still, because honestly, you don't want it to drop now. And they're like, no, we're not. She's not going to change. We can't push it. This needs to come out because it's part of a bigger picture. So I think it is going to be a little cyberpunk. I am hoping the game is excellent, actually.
I mean, JK aside, I'm concerned about the quality of the game. Like, even, without her issues. I mean, like, Cyberpunk and Anthem, they bombed because of technological issues. Like, if you played Anthem, it's actually really hard to get matched and get something started and make sure stuff doesn't, like, it's glitchy, and a lot of the features that were supposed to be there never showed up. And then support just fell off. I haven't played Cyberpunk, but it's my understanding there are some similar technological glitchy things that are a problem.
Very much so. I played through and beat it.
This game is equally ambitious. And so I'm concerned that the technology to have it be open world in the capacity that they want it to be is not necessarily ready.
Yeah, I think if they wanted us to be more excited about it, especially to get positive feedback, they would have dropped something major, like a 5 or 10 minute gameplay something. The fact that they haven't, and they're still saying it's going to be released 2022, when we know the biggest season is either going to be around summertime or Christmas, and we haven't seen nothing, that should tell us something. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Recently, I guess this is also in connection to it being 20 years since we saw Sorcerer's Stone. Cartoon Network aired Hogwarts Tournament of Houses with host Dame Helen Mirren. Basically a quiz competition between houses on your Harry Potter trivia. Firstly, what are your houses?
I'm Gryffindor.
Jay's Gryffindor, Peanut's Slytherin. I know Jay's a Gryffindor. Jay is very will save the day, and that's Gryffindor's defining quality. I get it.
I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said about me.
That was sweet. That was sweet.
I don't know why Peanut is a Slytherin. Do you care to elaborate? Because I'm curious.
I mean, it was a shock to me. Reading through my Pottermore years ago, I saw green. I was like, "What the hell is this?" I was damn near offended, to be honest, because of how Slytherin has been told. But one of the first things that made me feel differently was they said Merlin was a Slytherin. I said, "Wait a minute, I love some Arthurian stuff. Hold up now, let me keep reading." And it was just more about ambition and getting things done and blah blah blah. So,
by any means,
I can rock with that.
We'll talk about this more in the tournament, but one of the things I really did like is I've realized now why some people could be good and be Slytherin, because they say quick-witted, ambitious, and I was like, that could be a positive thing. We've only saw them in a negative way, but
she explains that in the book that they're not all bad.
Barely.
She touches on it briefly.
Right, as the rest of them are trying to create genocide.
So speaking of Hogwarts, of Pottermore surprises, I'm a Hufflepuff. Which reading the books, I always thought I was a Ravenclaw, just because I'm smart and I like being smart, and that's my thing. But I guess I wasn't paying attention enough to the message in Harry Potter, and it's not really about your abilities as much as it's about your behavior. And so Hufflepuffs, another house that doesn't get fairly shown in the books. They're not just a grab bag for morons that don't make it into other. That's what it feels like.
That's how you felt?
Yeah, like they're incredibly loyal and they work hard. Which is different kind of than the ambitious thing, but they actually are like hard-working people.
Yeah,
and they will fight you if you mess with one of them. Like, they're not aggressive, but if you mess with somebody that they're protective over, you will have a problem. And their house is right next to the kitchens because they like to eat. So I was like, okay, I think I can get with it.
That's your tribe.
I'm trying to say, well, we eating, we fighting, we good. We work a little bit. So I'm with it. After several years of acceptance, I actually do see myself as a Hufflepuff. I just happen to be a bright one. All right. Speaking of Hufflepuff,
we see you, Cedric. We see you.
Right, Batman. Back to Batman. Speaking of Hufflepuff, I loved the teams. We had a 77-year-old man on our team who was my favorite person on this entire. He was delightful.
He was
older than everybody. When they announced that he was going to play, he got really excited about the fact that he's retired and turned around. So the whole crowd was like, guys, retirement's great. And everybody's 20 years old looking at him like, okay, bro, chill.
Hufflepuff was the most diverse team.
And when I tell you that, and that's the point, honestly, like Hufflepuff as a house should be the most diverse house because everybody kind of ends up over there. What was I going to say? But he knew the material better than he was on top.
It was scary.
Can we line out the teams?
Huh?
Can we line out the teams?
What does that mean? Talk about each one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to talk about him. And the rest of the Hufflepuffs I don't even care about. I know there's a black girl and there was another one. I don't even remember who the other one was. It was the boy with the orange glasses.
White guy.
Yeah, he had the orange glasses. He was cool. Gryffindor was all black.
All black. And that's the first house that came out. And I said, I'm in for a treat. Ain't nobody tell me this. I
did not expect that many Negroes, period.
Nope.
And Gryffindor had all of them. But if you look in the crowd, every house had a lot of black representation. Mm-hmm. And the Gryffindor black team, they knew their stuff. Even though they didn't perform super well, they knew what they were doing.
They did.
The first thing I said to Cherry when I saw the episode 1 is like, wait, they picked all three?
Both of y'all said the same thing. Both of y'all sent me a message like, you didn't tell me this was black.
The first 3? Oh, yeah. Okay, now.
Right. Yeah. That's the first thing they showed. So it really set I said, wait a minute, this is okay. It's a little different. It's not what I was expecting.
Slytherin looked like Slytherin. They looked like you would expect Slytherin to look. I don't know how to say that any other way. And a Ravenclaw, I don't even remember.
They look like Slytherin, to be honest.
Ravenclaw looked like they were supposed to be intelligent.
And they were. They didn't miss no questions.
They were sharp as hell.
And so that brings me to my next point. The whole show was a trivia game. And I think that's unfair. I think that's biased towards Ravenclaw. I think that if they want to do a real proper tournament of houses, it should be more in line with the Tri-Wizard tournament and have different skill sets and have different things other than questions that play to the strengths of each houses.
Absolutely. You gotta have a Quidditch match, baby.
You have to have a Quidditch match.
How do you have a tournament and not have a Quidditch?
You have to have a Quidditch match.
I wanted to see that 77-year-old man play Quidditch.
I used to play Quidditch. I've played Quidditch in college, and it's doable. Like, it's entertaining to watch. It's fun to play. You don't get to fly, but other than that, the rest of the rules are the same.
They have an international competition that at this point is over 10 years old, so it's absolutely doable.
It was fun.
I think they would have to do something that's kind of like either a dark arts like chemistry type thing.
I was thinking they should have
defense
chemistry
spells type thing.
I think they should have chemistry in the sense that you can give them instructions and they have to mix some stuff together and make basically like Chem Lab 101 in college.
It could be like Hogwarts cook-off show. Before
I didn't even think about cooking. I was thinking about proper chemistry, but cooking would actually be even better.
Can you make
nailed it? Turn it into nailed it.
The Great British Bake Off is just at Hogwarts.
Yeah. So that's what when you said I wanted to be like the tri. That's exactly what I think. If they're going to continue this, it can't just be the trivia. You have to add these other elements.
Yeah, it has to expand.
So I was explaining this concept to someone else, and they basically agreed, but said that there should be a mechanical broom contest.
Like a bull?
I'm not saying no.
Ride a cowboy. All right.
Epic. Okay, and so when they do this, and Peanut made a point about seeing the 77-year-old man play Quidditch. I think they brought every group back. I think when they brought the groups back for the next round, I would have liked to have seen them change players. I didn't want to see the same 3 players come back more than once. I think it should have been for fairness of the the house is like to represent the whole house. I think they should have had newer, fresh players.
I could see that, but I did like the revenge
whole kind of. No, continue. We got a little bit of delay. Continue.
I like the revenge aspect a bit. So, I'm clear to talk about who won which episodes and whatnot?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, the first episode was Gryffindor and Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff came out victorious there. Second one was Slytherin and Ravenclaw. I'm heavily into that one, watching it. We're getting whooped a little bit, but I'm like, you know what? It's Ravenclaw. I get it. So to me, I felt narratively it fit the Slytherin situation by losing that one, coming back, winning the wild card match, because now they got something to prove. So it's like, all right, we're not just playing this dumb trivia game. We lost this one. We gotta So I felt that was that kind of fit with the ambition and all that kind of stuff. And they came back and did good. It didn't win in the end, but I did like that aspect of it.
I like that. I think we can still have that storyline with different players. I think Slytherin can still have, I think it takes the emphasis off of your 3 people and puts the emphasis on the whole house. So if it was 3 different players, it would be a Slytherin win as opposed to them 3 getting their revenge.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see for house versus 3 people versus 3 other people. I don't know. But I do like they incorporated the house into the questions. Like the houses, everybody there had to answer questions and get them right, essentially. So about the questions, they were hard. I watched the first couple rounds, and I was like, I know this stuff, dude. Right off the back of my head, and it kept going, and it was like, what couch was Hermione's parents sitting on? Like, bruh.
I might not be able to pick my couch out of a lineup. So
Listen, this and also what you were talking about the last time is what made me realize they planned this in probably a very quick manner. They're like, what is the best way we can do multiple houses, multiple people, game show, and it goes to trivia? Because those questions, ain't nobody who's a Harry Potter fan over all these years would know that answer.
What year is on the gravestone at Tom Riddle's daddy's grave?
Yes. That's not an exaggeration, y'all.
Oh,
that's a real question.
A literal question. And when I'm the Hermione's parent, what couch were Hermione's parents sitting on is a literal question. And it's in the movie, the back of the couch, the top of the back of the couch is in the movie for 2 seconds. And you're supposed to pick it out of a lineup. So yeah. Yeah. So I mean the questions were challenging. I like that, we've all studied this stuff for literally 20 years. So you gotta come with it when you come with some questions. So I like that they were difficult, but like I said, I would like to see different types of challenges outside of the questions.
As balanced. Sometimes I felt like there was a steep difference.
I think the Ravenclaw show was harder than the Gryffindor show. Like the first episode, I think the questions were easier than when they went to the Gryffindor show.
Agreed.
I mean, the Ravenclaw.
But that's just my bias because I feel like they made it more difficult for us.
I mean, I'm Hufflepuff biased, and I still feel like y'all show was harder. Also,
it was rough.
Getting to the end, spoiler, Hufflepuff wins, which is a shock to me because Hufflepuff never wins. And that's deliberate because we're not competitive. Like, it is stated that Hufflepuffs aren't competitive. We just kind of there. And so we don't. But the fact that, like, we did win courtesy of that old man that had his stuff together, I was really excited to see that. But Jay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what did you guys think about the actual set design and everything?
Oh
and,
my god!
It
was beautiful.
It was the Dame being like,
my issue with her.
Part of Harry Potter.
I like her. I think she was a good host. But there were times where I got the impression that she didn't know the material or didn't care or wasn't excited about the material, and that rubbed me the wrong way. So she's British. And she's smart, and she was dressed to the 10s and 9s or whatever. And she was, I liked her, but I would have liked to see someone who was more engaged with the material.
Right. I felt like she was reading lines when she was saying specific things, like, "Oh, now we're going to go eat pumpkin pasties,"
and she was getting excited when other people were, "Oh, y'all know what that is?" Like that's y'all excited about
agreed.
it? I hate to say it, and cancel me if you want to, but I feel like that was Joanne's role. And she blew it. I think if Joanne had came in and hosted this show, people would have lost their minds. Like, if she had no controversy, of course, and she was the one hosting this, and you just being on the show, you got to meet her. And, I think people would have just freaking lost it if she was actually, but I don't know if she even has enough personality to pull that off.
If she was the host of this show, this would be a seasonal thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't this would be a big thing. Personality.
Yeah, she's by the nature of who she is. People would have lost it.
It would just need to be her.
And I feel like you would see people melt at or her just being excited about people knowing some of these crazy detailed questions.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like her warmth, it would just
she would walk on the stage and people would just be screaming. Like it'd be like Michael Jackson came out there because these people are diehard fans. Mm-hmm. She blew it, man. She blew it. All right, so I want to talk more about her blowing it, so we're gonna move on to the next topic. Oh wait, should we rate it? I guess since it was, I guess we can rate it. I don't know. Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, let's give it a rating. I'll start first. I'll say it was a B. I think it was a lot better than I was expecting. I would definitely be interested in a second season, but I do have real improvements I'd want to see in it.
All right, Peanut.
I'm down to give it a B-. Similar reasons to Jay. I like the concept overall. The execution was fair. Lots of room for improvement. And then Slytherin win next time, and we can rate higher.
Oh God. I give it a B+. Oh, I just had a new idea. Okay, so my B+ is because of the reasons I said before. I think it was biased towards Ravenclaw just because of the nature of the competition. But I do think the set design was gorgeous, as Jay said. It looked and it felt like Harry Potter. It just felt right. And that's an important thing, and it's hard to get. So I do give it a B+. But I would also like to see a interactive aspect. Like, since this came on live TV, let me sit at home and play on my phone and say that I am a Hufflepuff and the answer is C, and you tally that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me play at home. We have the technology exists. Let's do that.
Ooh, can I add to that?
Yeah.
Can I add to that just to make it even more interesting? Since it is a game show and everything, let us be a part of it if it's a seasonal thing. And whoever part of their team wins and actually like has some of the most points, you also get to win prizes. You get to go to Disney World and be part of the Hogwarts or something. Like, make it a real, like, I'm part of the house. We do this. You would put in your information, like, I'm part of Hogwarts. This is my email address.
Do they
I'm
send
answering
like
the questions.
100,000 people to Disney, or do they like raffle from within the house?
I say raffle within the house. Make it, you know.
I knew that when I said it, but I just wanted to challenge you.
Moving on.
Now you know how I feel. I really hope people listening. We had technical difficulties earlier in the show. I don't know whether or not that'll be evident, but I really hope that conversation that Jay and I had about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is recorded and that it will be part of this episode because that was hilarious. All right. If it doesn't make it, people will be like, what? All right. Speaking about JK getting herself canceled for no reason. Like, she really picked the wrong hill to die on. Anyway, Harry Potter 20th Anniversary Return to Hogwarts is a HBO special that aired early January 2022 at the anniversary, or January 21st. January 1st. Near the anniversary of the premiere of the Sorcerer's Stone film. It basically, it was really just the preview or the trailer got everybody super hyped and super excited just because you're seeing adult Hermione, Harry, Ron walking through sets and you're seeing people open their Hogwarts letters and it just felt like being a kid again. Like, it felt like magic was back and it was really exciting. So then we watched it and I enjoyed it, but it was just super emotional for me. Like, I watched it twice, and the first time I watched it was honestly difficult. Like, it was just, everything about it for me was very heavy, but in a good way. Like, I don't think there's any way to do it and it not be heavy if you want to take it seriously. But I see you nodding over there, Peanut. So you go ahead. I want to add to that.
Yeah, it was surprisingly emotional. Like, in my head, oh yeah, I like Harry Potter. It's cool. You know, that's my thing, whatever. But watching it, I guess it made me realize how bigger than I thought a part of my life it was. Like, just the memories and the things that were like flashing back as they were showing different clips or just talking about different scenes. I had like tons of memories attached to that and feelings and all kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh shit, where's this?
Ooh, feelings, from? What are those?
Right.
I think if you feel that way, and I feel the same way, I think you need to make it a priority to make it down to Orlando and to see the theme park. Because like the idea of being emotional at a theme park sounds insane. But for me, I've been there twice and both times I was emotional. Not been there 3 times. And the first 2 times I was emotional. Like, just seeing the castle with your eyes in real life, you look up in the sky and it's right there. To see Diagon Alley in front of you, to see Hogsmeade in front of you, to have someone next to you serving butterbeer, to see the train conductor, to ride the train, all of it is, I can't explain what type of emotion it brings up, but you'll get in your feelings and it's weird. But you should if you feel that way while watching the show, I think you should definitely go down to Orlando. And Jay's looking at us like we crazy. So what's up?
Nothing. It's just I don't know if part of the reason is because I've kind of, like I said, have emotionally detached myself from the series itself just because of JK, or maybe I know it felt heavy, but I think it felt heavy just because they were adults, and I rarely hear adult child stars talk about their time being a really popular child star and it not kind of sound heavy. If anything, I felt like they sounded like they were really protected in a lot of ways, which I thought was really great to hear.
Which is why you don't see them ending up in some of the ways like Disney actors end up. Mm-hmm. They sound like they had a good community, a good family, good adults. Then they turned out okay.
Yeah, you can really see that the entire time they were a priority. And, sadly, they weren't able to be protected by everything on the outside world, especially with, Hermione and everything like that. But inside, it seemed like they were really, really protected, and they really were able to create bonds. Although I do find it interesting that I don't think they're friends. I think they would all just say they're acquaintances.
I did not get the feeling
which was
that they
weird.
were really...
I got the vibe that they don't talk outside of this.
No, I don't think I do not think outside of stuff when they have to or in passing, they were work acquaintances. They worked 10 years together, but.
Which is real odd because the people that I was closest with in high school, I still text. Like I just right now put my best friend from high school on mute and sit there and text it. I'm doing a podcast. I'm calling you back because that was my best friend from high school. Like there's no icy coldness that I got between all of them. It's a weird thing.
And the reason I noticed
Hermione
that
he loved her,
and her not saying nothing back.
Yeah.
The only reason I even really notice it because then you see how she acts when Tom comes in. And it's night and day.
It is.
Yeah, I think they might have dogged. I don't think they did right by Emma. I don't know what was going on. With Harry and Ron or Daniel and what the hell his name is Rupert. Rupert. It's complicated. I don't think they treated her right, and I think that is part of the problem. But they were older boys. Their boys are a couple years older, and they just probably, I'm sure, didn't want to be bothered with her. And I think Tom was nice to her. Draco was nice to Hermione, Emma, and I think that's why they became friends. She even said he was someone she could be vulnerable with. I think there might have been maybe some bullying or something going on. Because I don't know, it's icy weirdness.
I had the real impression like there was moments where she probably like really felt alone, and he was there in some capacity.
Because she said she was finna quit. She was in the fifth movie, and she said she wasn't coming back. So you couldn't have been happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the boys was messing with her.
And over time, they're still they still have a connection and they still have something. And then you see her with the people you would think she would have that with.
Yeah. Because that thing with her and Rupert, it was just, I didn't feel really anything from it.
It was weird.
Yeah.
That did not have me emotional.
And he was sick. Did y'all pick up on that? Rupert was sick.
There was like a
portion where he couldn't breathe out his nose.
Yeah. Yeah, he did his pretty much privately for the most part.
Yeah, I think because he had
yeah.
Also, the little boys and all of them having crushes on Helena, Bellatrix.
I understand.
Is weird.
I loved her section.
She was hilarious.
I love her. I love Helena Bonham Carter so much. So I was really excited to see it, and she did everything she needed to do. She bought all the personality, the charm, her pulling out the teeth. Like, it was just amazing. I really, really liked that part.
I want to say that I still am not a fan of Gary Oldman's Sirius Black. I never have been, ever. I like him. I think he did everything he could do as an actor, but I think the mischievousness of Sirius never
came through.
And I think that's a huge part of who he is.
I agree.
I think that's really interesting that for someone who's considered such a great actor to be able to do so many different type of roles, the one role where you think he shouldn't have an issue being able to do that, he misses the mark.
I think that's where I've always wanted to see Johnny Depp. Like, we put Johnny Depp later as Grindelwald, and that just don't do nothing for me. But Johnny Depp as Sirius Black with Helena Bonham Carter and them two having to be cousins and hate each other, I think that would have been outstanding.
I agree.
But I'll never get it.
Gary Oldman he never fit the picture of Sirius that I had in my head.
I think he was too old. They aged up the parents.
More of a brutish person.
They aged up the parents for the film, and it did the same thing that we had an issue with in the Black Panther movie. Because these people are fighting and dying for a cause, and they're taken away from their children, their new parents, and newlyweds, and they're being shown as maybe 10 years older than they actually were. And I think that takes something from the innocence of the Order of the Phoenix and how brave they had to be to do what they were doing at the age they were doing it, because they were a lot younger than Voldemort.
Yeah, they were like in their 20s.
And Voldemort was like in his 50s. And we don't get that. Also, what's her name to play Molly Weasley is not doing well health-wise. So she didn't show up. The rest of the Weasleys were there, I think. Well, the core Weasleys were there.
Yeah. No Percy or nothing.
I think Percy was there. I don't think they talked to him, but I feel like I saw him. He wasn't there. Maybe he wasn't there.
I honestly don't remember that too much of that part. I
don't think Charlie was ever cast, and I don't think Bill was there. What else? Dean Thomas still fine.
Is that Wes?
Yeah, you Wes. I like talking to the directors. I think one of my issues with Harry Potter series is the inconsistency in direction. But I liked talking to them and hearing it. The last one, is it David Heyman or David
Yates?
David Yates. I always mix them up. David Yates. David Heyman was a producer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So David Yates. He defends his most controversial decisions in the last couple movies, and I know he did it because they were controversial, but I still don't agree. As far as the face melting of Harry and Voldemort jumping from the clock tower, and their faces melting together. He explained why he did that, and I still think it's trash. Also, the scene in the tent where Harry and Hermione dance to that weird, creepy song, which everybody hated, and he defended that. Those two scenes weren't in the book. I like that he had an opportunity to talk about it. Oh, my biggest issue, and I would be mad if I didn't say it. Nobody talked about John Williams. John Williams is a composer. My favorite composer in the world, because every iconic film that you can associate music to is him. Look it up. I'm talking about Jurassic Park. I'm talking about Jaws. I'm talking about E.T. I'm talking about everything with a classic score. Star Wars. Anything where you know the music is John Williams. He did Harry Potter, and they didn't mention him at all. And I want to see him and talk to him and tell me what you were thinking when you came up with Hedwig's theme, because that that is Harry Potter. It's iconic as the rest of the film, and nobody even mentioned his name, and that's offensive to me. Because when I was a kid and I was like 11 or 12, I was in the movies watching something else, and I could tell you where I was in life the first time I heard Hedwig's theme, and the trailer for the movie hadn't even started yet, and I said, "That's Harry Potter." Just from hearing those notes, and I was like, "This is a Harry Potter trailer." I don't even think I knew the movie was coming, just because it was he can read a script and write a song to tell. I don't know he's some type of genius. I don't know how he does. Like I can't tell you. But yeah, they ignored him, and that upsets me.
Yes, I want to see John Williams on the Versus stage. I hear you.
With who?
The guy who does Can You Feel
man.
The Love
I'm sorry, I can't think of the guy's
Elton
name.
John?
No, the guy who does all of the Disney, like, You Want a Friend with Me, like the one who's like all of the classic Disney Pixar movies. He is that guy.
Elton John didn't do Lion King?
He did Cherry, but the guy
Danny Elfman. That's the name I was looking for.
Thank you,
Danny Elfman. He's the Disney John Williams.
Yeah,
I love John Williams. There's just no other.
Yeah. Speaking of people who were discussed or not discussed, they had a moment about JK. What did you think about it?
Oh, that's what I wanted. That's why we got us here. I'm annoyed that she wasn't included. I think there's no reason we can't sit her in her room by herself. Well, I mean, she was included, but like tangentially, like she was, and they had a disclaimer on all of her interviews that recorded in 2019. Just so you know that we talked to her before she started acting an ass. That's why I think it was smart of them to include her. But I still want to hear her opinion. I still want to hear her thought process. I still want to hear how she did it. Because she has answers to questions that nobody can answer. She provides insight that no one else can provide. I still want to hear what she got to say.
She also provides insight that no one asked for.
Oh my God. I'm so mad at her. More than anything or anybody, I'm pissed at her. Like, I'm really just like, how could you do this to us?
Like, she will literally tell you, like, hey, remember page 362 in Prisoner of Azkaban? Dumbledore had herpes. What?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess they did it. They did it tastefully. The disclaimer kind of annoyed me, but they did the best they could do.
I think overall it was very tasteful. It wasn't messy in really any way. And I feel like with so many documentaries or really anything nowadays,
and there was a lot of
focused on the mess.
There was a lot of mess just under the surface. So they did them kids don't like her. The trio, they don't like her. They don't like each other. Like
one of the Crab and Goyle, one of those boys, got kicked off the films because he was in jail and whatnot.
Yep, that's how we ended up with Blaze in the Room of Requirement instead of one of them.
Zabini.
And where was he at? Because he was fine too. So that's important. Where was Lee Jordan? Oh, he showed up on the Tournament of Houses.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. He got cute.
Still doing his announcing. I liked it.
He looks so tiny in that box.
Because he's tiny in real life.
Yeah, he's adorable though. Yeah. So that was cool to let him keep doing his announcing, which made me feel even more this should just be a Quidditch match and just let him do what he does best. So
if they do a second season where they could really not have to worry about COVID, I could absolutely see Quidditch. It has to be a part of it.
It's so much fun. Y'all should play it just once. I mean, you feel like an ass because you have to hold a stick between your legs. Other than that, the actual gameplay. Shut up. Wow.
I was hoping as a unit we were all old enough to let that go.
I was going past it, and you know I love a dirty joke.
I let it zoom by. Pierre said. All
right, I got sidetracked now with the foolishness. I would love to see a Quidditch match. Even just a short one. Even if it was just 15 minutes or something. Huh?
Yeah, 15 minutes.
I feel like a Quidditch tournament honestly could be its own show. Shut up. I heard what you said. But yeah. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Cherry done.
Reunion special, A through F. I'll go first. I don't have any critique. I don't have any major critiques.
Can I say because I didn't care for this either or. I didn't. It wasn't anything of interest to me. I didn't gain anything from it.
Cut off my review with this. Go ahead. By all means, continue.
Because I feel really strong about this. Because when you said it, this is my Snow White moment. I don't even know why we needed this reunion, honestly.
I feel like you only get an eye when you didn't watch it. That's when I get my eyes out. It's incomplete because I didn't watch it.
Well, it
should get a W for withdrawal.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay. This turned into real academics over here. Okay, so he's giving a W. He's withdrawn from the review. I enjoyed it. I thought it was totally necessary. I want to see where everybody is now. I loved seeing them as adults. I loved hearing the backstories. I love talking to the directors. I truly enjoyed this special. I don't even have a whole lot of critiques other than Joanne messed it up by being an idiot. And they did the best they could with that. I'm going to give it an A. And Peanut.
Same. I'll actually give it an A also. I went into it like, oh, cool, more Harry Potter stuff. I'm down to check it out. I was pleasantly surprised and emotionally overwhelmed a bit at times. It was surprising. Made me kick off a new Harry Potter marathon. Not that takes much.
If this made you feel a way, I really feel strongly that you need to make it to the park. Like, I just can't articulate to you how amazing it is as an adult to basically see your childhood, like what happened in your imagination as a childhood is then in front of your face.
Thank you so much for saying childhood. So I'm watching these movies and I have a 4-year-old son. So he's like watching with me and we turned it off and then he's like, hey, I want to watch Harry. I'm like, what? Okay. And then he's playing with Spider-Man and he's like, Expecto Patronum. I'm like, what the hell? This is the best thing ever.
My child has not seen the movies. And that has been deliberate on my part. Because if you grew up watching the movies, why would you read the book? So I've hid the movies from my son. But now we're reading the book. And he is not an avid reader. Like, he is an avid not reader. So I've been forcing him. Like, every day we read like a chapter or half a chapter, da-da-da. And so we're getting into like the actual, we're at the castle, stuff starting to pop off. And like one day he comes in my room and whispers in my ear, I'm starting to like this. And then runs out the room. And I'm like, oh, you're enjoying reading, are you? So, I mean, and that's the magic of Harry. That's the magic of Harry Potter is that it got so many children to read. So many children who otherwise would not pick up a book became readers and read these huge, massive tomes just because, Harry Potter had that magic in it. And they talk about that in the anniversary. And I liked that all of the kids that were in the movies had a story of reading the books even before the movies, before they were cast for the movies. They had all read the books and loved them. And I think that's really important and part of what made the movies good. All right. Wrap it up. Slap it up. As always, we're looking for new guests. If you have opinions on things, reach out to us on one of our many channels and let us know. You can subscribe to us in iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, or Google Play. You can follow us on Twitter at Black Nerd Cast. That's Black Nerd CAST as in podcast. You can follow us on Twitter. Did I just say that? Because I started thinking about something else. All right, let's like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Negro Justice League. Make sure you're checking out NegroJusticeLeague.com. We don't have too many updates there, but there will be updates. Follow us on twitch.tv/Black Nerd Cast. Rate and review us everywhere. But it is particularly important that you rate and review us on iTunes. Because that's like how we get more people. And then for the next episode, we're thinking we're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. I actually haven't seen it yet, but I am going to see it soon. And then Archive 81, which is something that's getting some buzz on Netflix. We're going to go ahead and check that out. So we're going to find a guest for that. And that's it. So that's all we got for today. Thank you for joining us. This was NJL, and we will see you in about a week.